Okay. Oh wow. And there's the preparation gone. But maybe not yet. Maybe not yet. I can start anyway with g6. Only like then I play knight c3. Okay. I think now I need to sort of play c5. Since if I play bishop c7, then I could get like a perk, which I don't want. Like, I sort of was expecting a King's Indian, which in the past we didn't play. Like our earlier games were all Koenvelds, but that I didn't want to play. So if they want, they can still go for a Maroczy, but yeah, that would be like a dream scenario for me. Like they can start with knight f3 or can do it directly. So yeah, all my preparation is gone. So yeah, maybe not gonna say too much about that. So this, if they go, okay, they avoid my two transpose in my normal Maroczy lines. Not sure if this is some like specific preparation. Yeah, it could be that like in this way they managed to keep the pieces on. Like usually, like for example, I played last Friday and over the board came in my team championship. But yeah, there were like then it sort of became how is it called? Like where you, although that's not really the case, but yeah, then it was like with a double fair and kettle setup, and they got like the structure. But there I had all my pieces on the board, and yeah, my pieces never really managed to get to good squares. So I think I now gain the tempo against the queen. So the queen, guess queen d2 is, and to go for like this is an idea that I have seen. Yeah, but in general, I shouldn't be that afraid of that because, like, I assume, yeah, I guess they don't need to play with f3 then. So their light square bishop is a little less bad than usual. But in general, in this structure, I'm happy to trade the dark square bishops because, yeah, there is basically nothing on the dark squares. So it's sort of, yeah, it's my sniper bishop, but everything will anyway clear on this diagonal. So it's, well, yeah, it's mostly that, it's not that this is really a bad bishop, since, yeah, I will have some pawns on dark squares, but it's not really restricted. But it's mostly that they remain with a bad bishop, and this bishop, yeah, it can nicely target all these pawns that will arrive on knight squares. But yeah, yeah, I guess the main upset for white here is that I keep all the pieces on the board. But yeah, they need to put like I guess this will get very similar actually to that game of that time. But yeah, I will be multiple temples up, I think. Although I'm not sure. There they played with. So this knight they're on d4 and they were able to play. Yeah, I guess the main thing is that I'm not forced into going for b6, bishop e7, which also is restricting for me. Like often the queen wants to go to b6, the bishop is better, like around here. Like the c6 square is weaker. Like not needing to play this b6 is for sure favorable for me. Think I probably want to make sure they don't play e5 here. Like it's not super clear it's good for them, but since that pawn could just be loose. But I think I anyway want to play d6, so I don't see a reason to like avoid it. Yeah, I think I just go for that. There is very little chance that at some point not will play d6. So there are like small chances that yeah. Let's say the other candidate was of course castling. But I think that's now let's say they castle. Then I assume here the move would be d6. So now let's see how do I configure my pieces. I assume there they will go for b3, bishop b2. So often this knight wants to maneuver to like c5. Like bishop e6. Yeah, I'm afraid of knight here. Also bishop e6 will be not doing that much, and anyway b3 will come. So yeah, I got like the same problem than in that game. I guess yeah, maneuvering some knight to e5 to try to trade off this knight, which has not really like a great square to avoid the trade. Like, do they want to go to e1? I'm not sure where my bishop belongs yet. My c8 bishop. Of course, yeah, one plan is to go for like e6, b5, which, yeah, like that plan feels a little bit less natural to me than going for with the a pawn. But yeah, the a pawn now doesn't do that much. Yeah, I think I want to make sure that I trade one piece off. And I think I actually will go with this knight. No. If I go with this knight, they have knight e4. So I probably need to go with this knight. Really force them. And then it doesn't... Then I think I will recapture. Since probably I will then want to re-maneuver that knight to c5 actually. Since on e5 I expect it will not do that much. Since yeah, I expect the way... They could also like move the queen again. But that will give me another tempo. Oh yeah, lose tempo mainly. Like, so the knight could remaneuver like in this way. It's for sure an option, but it feels very slow. Like, I feel I should be able to do then something. Not sure yet what, but... Also, there are some ideas with, yeah, after 97, then I maybe can like some queen a5, stopping their b3 plan. Yeah, there's something to be said to start with queen a5. But yeah, queen a5 alone has for the moment not like a second purpose yet, I think. So I think 97. I always want to make, yeah, I want to open up this bishop. The knight is not really doing anything here. Yeah, sometimes, but yeah, it's usually better on c5. So I think they, in general, I assume I have like way more experience in the structure than my opponent. I don't really like know what they play with black. Since yeah, our earlier games, then I played still d4 myself with white. So, and I didn't, yeah, I had no time even to check their white repertoire, which is way more relevant. So I for sure didn't check their black rep. I think, yeah, since by accident, it could be that I of feminine actually on the black side. But still, it's like I always feel like some people, yeah, actually kind of like to play against their own openings, but I don't feel like. It's not really the same. It's mainly maybe if like if there only one way really to play the opening, maybe. For example, like I played a little bit in the start when I started to play e4. I played like the Maroczy setup, center accelerate with dragon, but I felt like I only knew a couple of the plans of black, since I, for example, never went for like knight g4 lines myself. Not sure how that's called. So whenever my opponents played that, I was like, yeah, I had no feeling at all. These positions were completely different than the Maroczy positions I get like black. I think something like knight e1 now or after knight e5 is actually not a crazy idea. Okay, so now like my queen e5, they can just reply with bishop b2, so it doesn't do that much anymore. Maybe, yeah, but anyway, I couldn't really stop it, so it doesn't matter that much. So after 95, do they play 91? I think it's a very reasonable move actually. And maybe then I do something a little bit unusual and say, it's okay, I will trade off the light square bishops. Just to make sure that I can trade off one piece. Mm-hmm. And yeah, since if they stop it with f3, then I can just drop back, and I got the bishop to this slightly awkward square. The pawn blocking the bishop. And I think 91 feels like maybe it then sort of can. Is there some way how I can try to force on the queen trade? It's actually not too crazy an idea. Like, I know. I will need to. Maybe I start with queen e5, bishop e2, knight e5, and if they then avoid, can I then go something like this? Feels maybe a little bit too crazy. Like a4, this is of course still a plan. Like since this pawn, maybe I go here, and if they go 94, if it then they can go directly to c2, so that like trying to offer them a repetition for sure doesn't make any sense here. Not that I necessarily wanted to do that, but like you can then like offer it, and then at least then there's a reasonable chance that they want to avoid, and otherwise if they don't avoid, then you have like gained at least some mental edge, and then you can decide. Like, is there a nice square I can put the queen on after a5? Do I use this square to maybe shoot? But yeah, the only square is like c5, but I don't feel it's. I feel it's a little bit loose. I think this, and maybe I'm going for this bishop here. Then maybe, I was not even thinking maybe I drop back to d7, but the problem is that my knights are a little bit in the way of each other. So this, f3, bishop d7 back. They could then go for f4. Then, in these lines, I always like a queen b6. Or maybe knight g4. That could force them taking, since otherwise I have queen b6 with these. Okay, let's not get too early time trouble last week, which I think it's not the main reason I messed up then. Like I didn't feel like people in my chats were saying, oh, it was difficult with time trouble, but I felt that shouldn't have been a problem. But if I wasn't in time trouble, then like I would have been able to like I also wouldn't have then made the same mistake, so sort of like it could be a saving then sort of. Okay, yeah. I think I am happy to see this. Of course now they could uh, actually bishop d4 is not crazy at all. Like my first instinct was to take with a knight. But yeah, this way I keep my bishop open. My queen can and after f4 I have at least I have this check gaining some time. Now for sure my queen is very likely to pop up next. There are also now some like teams of like going with e6 and queen h4. Like early on, like I switched to like a more like engine, maybe like a more direct line of playing these positions. But back when I played like slower setups of the Maroczy, that was one. Yeah, I guess first I did like the slow maneuvering setups, then I switched to the like this setup where you go like with e6. Yeah, although usually the bishop is then already here, the knight is on c5, which is a better square. But then yeah, and then queen h4 and f5 and really start a quick attack against the king. Not sure if that makes sense here still. Now queen b6 could turn into 95. Yeah, bishop e6 is for sure a logical move here. Like getting the bishop here is even. Maybe I should have actually captured with I can play 94. Maybe I maybe want to trade out that bishop. It's not that bad, it can now pop out. Of course, it can just go to this square. But yeah, then I can use like I can get to the desired c5 square that way. And the bishop is not well placed on d3. Like it can, it's a little bit in the way. Queen a5 here is not doing that much. Yeah, it keeps this knight pinned. It feels it just turns into a3 before IDs. Usually you want like your pawn and then the queen behind. Like this e6 queen. If I feel like I don't have enough firepower ready yet to do that. Also, with not having played f3 now, g3 is way less a weakness. Like on lines where I went for this e6, then there's always queen f3 already, and then you can at least sacrifice the queen, the bishop, to already have like directly perpetual, and often like you follow it up even with like f5 and or there is a bishop, like usually there's a bishop down here, which also sometimes So f5 then can open up that bishop and can open up the rook. I had like a really great game. Don't know if I streamed that. I think that was just before I started streaming. Or at least I already stream sometimes and but not always my 45 games. Which is, yeah, that was like a really amazing game. One of my strongest wins ever in the 45, I think. Maybe I can link to it. I will try, if I remember, I will try to do in the pinned comment in the, on YouTube. So let me. So what was my 94? I was mainly thinking, right? For example, I don't never like there's not never a risk that f4 or 95 or since this is always with check, so there's never a risk that it could be loose. And yeah, if they like avoid that I can take, then I'm really thinking to draw back to e6. Then although then I need to consider f4 a bit. So let's say, yeah, one of the two. I drop here, now f4. Of course, you could, like, it's not completely crazy to, in that position, think about giving the two pieces for the rook and a pawn, because, like, positionally, it also would be decent, but yeah, I feel like it would be like I, for example, have done a nice e5 square, but I have no pieces left anymore to use the e5 square, so probably not great. But I think, yeah, I can, for example, then likely. Yeah, I think it's still likely not great for them. I probably can just even drop the bishop back, and they are just gonna create weak squares. This bishop is then on a bad square too. You could say that maybe you start with something like bishop d7, but I feel like that really says I'm gonna move this knight and get my bishop to this square. So then they maybe can sort of fight against me doing that. I feel like it's unclear by the bishop. Sometimes it just wants to go to e6 and chop off the knight on d5. No, I think I want to trade some more pieces. I have less space. Also, I'm not like, if they don't move the bishop and they don't do something direct, I'm not forced into directly taking it. There are actually in my repertoire some lines where I play with the knight on d4. And it's quite, yeah, it has then, it's then usually when there's still no knights traded. And then, like, there is like a knight on, it's mostly with a knight on a3. Which then the only square to like, why is it on a3? Yeah, it's like the knight hasn't gone this way. Okay, so they avoid it. I think now I go here. I want to go to this c5 square. I don't. There is. I can now go for my bishop d7, bishop c6 plan. If they go f4, I go back. e5 is not a thing. I guess they now sort of can move the knight. To, let's say, d5, but would attack my knight. But even, let's say I play the knight here. I can now, the difference is they can trade, but don't think like that. That would be decent for me. Now I think I'm never afraid of them trading here. We of course can do f4 first and then do this. So let's say I then go again something like here. Now queen a5 maybe makes some sense actually. Guess though, yeah, the only question then is, do they have like a quick a3 b4? Oh, now going for this e6 stuff. So, but I'm playing way too slow for practical stuff. But yeah, it's kind of interesting, the position. I think they will be forced. I otherwise I even have like bishop f4 IDs. I think in general I'm still very happy to trade these bishops. So f4. They are not really threatening e5, or at least not directly. I guess for knight c5 to play, I probably need first. Okay, I guess maybe there's some direct stuff here. f4, bishop back here probably, f5 here, and then b4. Although, no, then in that case, now my knight is super happily on e5, so like they can't really rush with f5, that just pushes my knight to a great square. And there is not really an attack, I think. I guess the only thing I sort of want to play bishop d7. But then this f4, f5, and my knight doesn't have the d7 square in the end. Maybe I play a5 next move. That takes away the a5 square from my queen, which is not ideal, but I can't, like, you need to give up some square somewhere. a3 is maybe, although after a3 I can still just play a5. Like their pieces feel. I guess the bishop could go to c2. It's that much better on c2 than on e2. Like while this maneuver it looks like also strange, but the knight on c6 is not doing that much on. It's way better like on c5. I'm going that direction. Also on e6 it's actually not. It's controlling. Like I think it's controlling more squares. Yeah, after f4, it could be an idea to go bishop f6. Since then after f5 I could even think about bishop g5 and then knight f4. Although maybe the knight is a little bit loose over there. But then again, yeah, then I just need to get the queen and I have quite a decent attack. But yeah, probably not enough. But yeah, in a lot of lines for my queen maybe can like use one of these squares to then jump to the other side. Also, like queen b6, queen d4 could be an idea. Like queen trades in general should be like favorable for me. Since yeah, with queens on, yeah, there's not really any attacking potential more, and then it's more about like, then it's way more relevant all these weak dark squares they created. Also that like sort of in general white has like two plans really, one to create a kingside attack or one to create like here pause pawn. Well, yeah, you get this 3 against 2. It's not really 3 against 2 since this pawn sort of limited, but going. And then, yeah, with the queen trades, that's really the only plan left. So it makes it quite a little bit easier to. I guess it's not. It's mostly like getting space here and further squishing me. While this space getting, yeah, they can still do. It's since if they do it with the queens on, then you could have like the issue to mini Karpov. Quite some time. I guess yeah, this is good time zone for you. That's like might be the two. So my opponent now is, I think, South Korean, if I correctly remember. Although, can it be? Since I remember they are like in the top. I guess it's because chess is relatively small in South Korea. They are like top 10 of their country or something, I heard. Which sounds like it couldn't be true from South Korea since it's actually a big country, population-wise at least. Yeah, maybe not in Asian norms, but for sure in European norms. We don't have big countries. But yeah, I guess chess is they're probably smaller than stuff. I don't know if it's Go or something else in South Korea. Uh, and then yeah, so Mini Karpov is like from Vietnam. Don't think I've played other. No, I have played Indian for sure. I've played some Indian players. Think there are a decent amount of Indian, but that's so outside of India. Okay, so they are preparing F4 IDs, but that yeah, that leaves some light squares weaker for sure. Uh, so after knight here, there's probably b4. It's a little bit uncomfortable. So because of that, I think I might start with a5. I don't think I'm afraid of f4. Not sure yet. Like, there is something to be said to go to f6 instead of g7. Since yeah, that's now for sure with g3 in. Now if they go f4, f5, now I have even now knight g5 becomes a lot more tempting. Although this bishop for now still, but yeah, I assume the bishop doesn't want to stay on d1 either, since yeah that blocks the connection of the rooks. So or they at some point, I guess they could go for this plan now. That is a reasonable operation. Since yeah, if I then go back here, then they can just drop back. So yeah, the other candidate is bishop d7 here, but is then this plan a little bit uncomfortable? I guess now I could go here, but yeah, maybe they just even push with h4. And I have this check, but the knight just maybe gets trapped. Yeah, the knight probably gets trapped then over there. If I need to go here, yeah, then there is this b4 problem. So yeah, I think I need to go a5 to create the square for my knight. And then, yeah, it feels like this is just a pretty... Yeah, the only thing I didn't manage to get f3 in, but yeah, like it feels these bishops are in a collision course to get traded, which is good for me. Which is maybe a little bit counterintuitive if you don't really know these structures. But yeah, it's less clear than usual because the pawn is not on f3. So this bishop is less bad than usual. So then this trade is less bad than usual. But yeah, it's mostly like my knight has really great potential dark squares to be on. Well, their knight, of course, has nice light squares, but my bishop can trade itself off. And then often you can end up with a good knight versus bad bishop. It's not super clear. But yeah. That's at least one big positional option for black. I guess a3 is no, it might be a move here. Oh wow, sort of. Maybe bishop d7 was okay here. Since after, oh no, of course, I had seen this. Like this bishop is unfortunate because it disconnects the rooks. But otherwise it's on a really nice square actually. Since it controls like this a4 square and it controls the squares over here. Also b3 in some cases. Actually, since yeah, knight c5, often after knight c5, a3 is not really an option because you have knight b3. So like these are all key squares to control. So in that sense, the bishop is really good. Like this is sort of, if it doesn't disconnect the rooks, I think it's might be actually the best square here on the board for the bishop. Yeah, maybe d. Yeah, no, d5 probably gets stabbed, but otherwise d5. Now, of course, after they have played g3 bishop on g2, it also will be decent. Yeah, okay, so this was sort of expected. Yeah, here the question is, do I maybe put it on f6? I for sure think there is something to be said to put it on e6. On f6. There are not, I guess, the upside of being on g7 is in case of that I don't need to initiate the trades, since I can just recapture it again, while if I need to recapture on f6, then I need to recapture with a pawn and weaken my structure a bit. There is actually some, like, while this hook can get sort of sniped. It's not fully that it's possible to trap it, but it's sort of close in some lines. But it's not really. I guess sort of getting the bishop over here is also an option. But that feels with the bishop already here a little bit wrong. No, I want the trade in general still. I think it's less clear because here the pawns are sort of dynamic, but at least here the bishop is still blocked, and there are still like a lot of weak dark squares for the moment. It's not as fixed as sometimes in the, but yeah, that's me. I think f6. It feels it less a little bit more options here. I guess if they sort of maybe want to get an e5, and then that will be with tempo. Although, with as long as I keep the knight here, now if after e5 after the trade, whenever it's with tempo, then I have just bishop g5. I don't think I ever need to be afraid of e5. Yeah, knight d5 could be with tempo, but I'm always going to be happy to trade. So next, I think I do this. You could say that the bishop is nice here, which is true. We will see. Of course, at any point queen b6 is a candidate move. Not really, because the check does that much. It does a little, since if I force the king on these light squares, now the bishop on a c6 will be really nice. But yeah, I think at some point I probably will play bishop f3. Countering that diagonal. But yeah, I have just like nice squares for my pieces. And whenever the bishop arrives on f3, now my knight is again more stable on c5, because this a3 b4 is no longer possible. I guess in cases where they sort of trade this off, now the queen defends the square. But then yeah, my knight will have like squares here. Sometimes this combined with this. Or queen b6 would like pin this. That's with all these white pawns going forward, they create like weak squares. While I weakened h6, I weakened here some squares, and that's basically it. Yeah, d5 is like a semi-weak square, because of course I don't really want to play e6, but I will control that with like my bishop. While on the other side, like they have created weak squares. Like here, all weak squares. And some say, and some, I guess, yeah. The second thing doesn't make sense too. I guess these squares are all now no longer protected by pawns. Also, yeah, e4 also not, but yeah, I guess you could say even e4. And then me and the other side are, I guess, like do it like this. These are the only squares. And let's pick this one. To like, that's really a nice comparison. Like all these, okay, very sensible move. I guess, yeah, there is some option to like e5. Yeah, this pawn is not even hanging. Since I have queen b6. Since otherwise they could be thinking about like trading these two pawns, like play e5 to trade a pawn here. I guess that would, yeah, it's maybe in some lines it's possible to do that. Because yeah, the queens will be traded. Since after, if I start with queen b6, then they might have queen f2. So there is some reason to start with knight c5 actually. Okay, let's quickly consider this line. Although, yeah, I guess no, but my bishop is then hanging. No, that's not. So bishop is blocking this, so that doesn't work. e5 take. Yeah, they don't need to recapture, but let's say they recapture. Doesn't change that much. This is not possible because queen b6 and I capture back and I defend my bishop. they cannot trade in between. So so I'm gonna put the bishop here, the knight here. I guess, yeah, there could be a reason to have started actually, but although it's not necessary yet. Thanks for the follow, Agile Chess. And I think I have seen that name first. So not sure if you how you arrived to my stream. Can't really react in chat right now because yeah, for safety reasons that people are not suggesting moves and stuff like that. So I can only see the comments. But thanks for the follow. Hope you enjoy the stream. I think it's a nice positional game for now. Likely at some point it will change to a tactical game, I think. Like for now we are like maneuvering our pieces, putting it on knight squares, and at some point a position will blow up and we go from there. And like there is a lot of dynamic energy still in the position because there's for the moment there's no tension yet between. But it's also not pawns are also not never there are no pawns blocking each other yet, so every pawn is can still move, like so there are still a lot of breaks in the position possible, so that yeah leaves for the moment a lot of tension in the position, and at some point yeah someone will do a break and the position will open up. And it is not. It can also be that we trade a couple of pieces and then go really into a maneuvering game, an endgame. Then that's also. But there are still just a lot of options in the position. Okay. So in some. Although I want to say there could be like with putting the rook here, of course they put it opposite of my queen, but for the moment, yeah, I guess there are. No, it's not really. I think like something like e5. Like the queen has no tempo moves. Like after e5, take. That unsure like if the bishops are traded or not doesn't change that much. But then let's say they do a tempo move on my queen, then I can just do a tempo move back. So I guess yeah, I can just protect my bishop and I'm up a pawn, I think. Though I guess probably safer to go to b8 to not get tempoed by the knight. Probably in that line, so let's say bishop c6, take. Yeah, I'm not sure. Probably here to not allow me to track on this diagonal. If I then played queen c7, then knight b5 probably wins. Although I guess not really. Probably might still be just to trade. But yeah, anyway, queen b8 stops all that nonsense, and then I'm just up a pawn. It says yeah, that would discover the attack on the bishop while gaining a tempo. Even if for example, there is a pawn here, and so the knight is hanging, but I can then take in between and then move the knight. But yeah, I think as far as I see, that's not a problem. Another follow, Michael Comston, thanks. So You are at least with 2 there in chat. Another name I don't really recognize. So welcome to the runner. I guess I need to have a name for the community. That's what streamers do. But yeah, it needs to be something runner related, but I guess most like the runners, it feels wrong if most of my viewers are not runners themselves. So I need to think about that one. Like, yeah, this position feels good for me. Like it's like all their pieces are defended. That's nice for them, but they're all like needing to defend each other. Well, all my pieces are defended by pawns. So they are way less. There's never like really a tactical combination where like I trade pieces and then in the end there's something hanging off me. Well, the other way around it can be, of course. Of course, it could be like some of the defense can be undermined, so it's not that I'm completely safe of tactics. That you are never, but yeah, the question if this is a little bit unusual to put the bishop here. Like next, it happens in quite some openings where you take with his bishop and then you get attacked and you need to move back. And usually you automatically go to g7, although it happens that you go to f6, mostly to defend this pawn. But I don't think that really happens that often in like dragon structures. It's more that when there is no d pawn and the e file is open, then this bishop f6 happens a little bit more. But yeah, that's usually of course in these kind of situations the white dark square bishop is on this diagonal. So then there's always this bishop h6 looming, which you want to stop at bishop g by dropping the bishop back to g7 directly. But yeah, here, like of course in some far future, the bishop could get here. But yeah, then at least I always can just drop it. I will have lost less temples than they do. So I'm never really afraid of that. Okay. Of course, sensible. So what have I just now do trades? Even maybe trade here and put a knight here. The downside is assuming they take with the e-pawn. But yeah, it feels like off. No, the bishop is not. But yeah, I at least can put my knight here on c5. It's not doing that much actually. So, and some lines after that, I will be able to play even f4 and knight here. Although the knight bishop is, for the moment, controlling that decently. Is the question, do I include queen b6 too? It's... but yeah, I think I always start with trading this one off. For example, after this, they could be thinking taking here, which is not a nice thing. So the knight doesn't really have like any I'm not forced to directly take. It's not a forced move, but what otherwise would I play? I could play knight c5. It's not impossible, but then I take away my option to give a check here. Let's say here. Let's first, I guess, consider how do they take. If they take with the c pawn, then I for sure want to include this check. I think my queen is better there than like my rooks can more quickly access the c file, and then probably go with knight b6 next. I guess they sort of are getting ready to start pushing here, but and if they take with the e pawn, then of course this pawn is slightly weak. So then, yeah, I'm not sure if I want to go to b6. That was for sure something to be said to not rush with taking here. The knight is not doing that much. It's looking nice and all, but I feel I'm just gonna keep it simple. Usually, yeah, it's very hard to get to this pawn. I guess the queen is on this diagonal. I think I often will play f5 even. If they take with the e pawn. Maybe I'd still start with queen b6. I think. So let's say here, queen b6. Let's say they move, right? Maybe h1. On the second it feels a little bit loose. Knight here. One of the rooks. Here. Yeah, but this pawn duo broken up now. I just put f. Okay, there is a weak square here. But yeah, it's mostly that I then get the square for my king on f7, which is a decently nice square. And I could of course like try to break with f5, but that's really weakening. With g4. And I'm not really forced to react to that. And then whenever I have f5, they are sort of like forced to always be defending against my knight jumping into e4. Of course, they could like, for example, that. So let's just put some arrows so you have an idea about what I'm talking. No, think. Let's say this. Let's say I do this. It's yeah, here it's not that easy to just a move here for might, but let's say they go here. Yeah, if the queen is here, then this f5 maybe. Although my knight still is defending the square, so it's not the end of the world. But yeah, so if I then go f5, now whenever they could move then the bishop, and whenever I jump in, they then can attack the knight. It's not okay. They keep the structure. Also an option, of course. Probably in this case a decently well option. So now I'm not forced to move the knight directly. Still think like, so let's consider the breaking moves. I'm thinking about here and maybe going here and then breaking with, no, not directly breaking with e4, maybe even going queen b4 and then breaking. It feels maybe a little bit slow, but I'm not sure what they are doing on this side in between. Just need to make like sure that my queen doesn't get tapped in some stupid way. Or they can create some kingside attack, but which I'm not seeing for the moment. I think also with one knight here, then I'm like relatively fast in, going back. Also with the queen on b6, whenever they play something like e5, my queen is back defending squares here. Yeah, let's. I even like could jump in like here. It's not a crazy idea actually, with their pieces not connected. I need to make sure if I jump in with the queen that, since yeah, I often then will follow it up with knight e5, and then I sort of cut off my escape path out. I guess with the like if they now play something like queen f2 trade, now with the rook here, then they have sometimes e5 ideas to undermine my knight. That's a little bit annoying. Yeah, the pieces are like not. There's also like some ideas of like moving this rook out of the way so then the queen can be the one here. Sometimes offering queen trades, also being able. The queen on f8 can defend squares, while the rook on f8 only really can defend f7. Also the queen could go to g7 maybe, which is a little bit an unusual idea. So here, now they put that square. Yeah, I'm thinking that I maybe keep the knight for a moment here. Don't think on c5 it's doing that much yet. So I'm thinking about rook fc8. Maybe even put a rook actually on c5. I can go with rook b5, and then try to like break, but after knight c5, the rook sort of will be trapped here. They then maybe can go for a3 before, but no, don't feel that's right. Yeah, this feels a little bit crazy to like put, since they have look like they are attacking, to then put the rook away, but I don't feel they are attacking that much actually. I don't see like. And my rook, like this rook c5 is for sure an idea to sort of control squares that way. And yeah, I can drop my queen back. And now, yeah, my rooks. Like at some point I want to break here to then create a weakness, and then my hooks are both already nicely. Looking at that, for sure also with the king on the 7th, I like that. On the 2nd, like in a scenario where we have traded queens, like at some point I maybe have an in-between check here, which could be for sure annoying. Snapping of this pawn and or trading of a rook could for sure also be favorable. So f5. I think I go here. Can say that maybe go f6. Maybe I then just play e6 actually. Looks a little bit strange, but like the queen is the only downside of this pot. Yeah, there are some other downsides, but the queen getting to like h6, but it's quite some distance. My queen can go back this way. So f5 here, f6, e6. I guess they... Ah, wow. They have a nice move there. They have queen e2. And I can't take because this will be mate. That's a nice move. Which I didn't. Okay, so that could be an issue then. Yeah, I didn't. I messed up there a bit. I think f5 looks good here. Yeah, it looked like it didn't do that much, but yeah, this pushing f6 too is strong. I guess maybe I'm, yeah, taking here now feels a little bit wrong. Yeah, I was too casual with this rook fc8. So f5, what can I do? Yeah, taking looks crazy. Also doesn't really help me. Okay, they go there. Didn't expect that. Don't think I have much choice except going here. After, yeah, I guess they can sort of create a weakness here, but I don't think. I think this rook being offside is a bigger issue for them than me having a slightly weak d6 pawn. Which is like, how are they really gonna attack it? I guess they know still could go for this f5 plan. But at least, yeah, it feels a little bit less strong. With the rook here. I think now after f6 I probably take and not sure what, but even if like maybe a knight here. Yeah, my knight here, my knight can get back to e5. And that looks good for me. Yeah. So now f5 here, f6, take knight e7. Not, yeah, the queen moves somewhere. Don't think it matters that much. Next move, knight e5. Defending this, keeping the rook out. I guess the rook will move back here, but yeah, this will just be. And then I just need to make sure then that they are not able to sort of very quickly triple on this. Interesting to look here, like what is the correct. I'm curious what the correct configuration here of my pieces is. Like this is its typical thing, like you feel like you should move a rook here, but that's something we don't understand as humans, these rook moves. Now, yeah, now this rook looks silly. Maybe I should have just moved the other rook. But yeah, it felt like this rook had a purpose here on a8. I often want to open up this file later on. But maybe here it was not relevant. But yeah, for now. Yeah. Oh, I also like curious also why they didn't go for f5, f6 here. It's very possible they just missed it because it's sort of a anti-positional move. It really weakens this e5 square for good, which yeah will be like I have a piece to put on it, and it will is also no challenges anymore. So after they play f5 in this position, my knight will forever have the e5 square, which yeah, it is huge. So maybe let's see if here. Yeah, the problem with the other line was that then this pawn was hanging, right? So I couldn't do the same thing with f5. Here, f6, take, 97. Oh, they can just take here. Maybe it's possible to play that. I don't think, since then b7 is also hanging. So to have that for some like long-term compensation. Maybe play that same idea. Okay, now they play e5. Okay, that was, I considered this move, right? I was gonna play knight c5 here. And I don't see. Yeah, what's the bishop opens up, but yeah, it's not really doing that much. I guess after taking here, although I can also just take with the queen. I'm forced to take with the pawn. I guess this pawn hangs. But does it really hang? That's of course a question. I have also in some lines like 93 stuff. So take. I think it hangs. So, not. Oh, yeah. So I probably need to take with a pawn. That again weakens this square. But I think for now, I think that's less an issue. Like, I think, yeah, that this rook is out of place is more relevant. And they really have difficulty getting, like, my queen, yeah, guarding this pawn. It's like the queen way easier can, like, at any point pop out and do damage. So let's remove this one. I think I safely can do that. They're of course not forced to do that. If I took first here, they probably take in between here. So I think I need to start with this, but if they don't capture here, then I'm I'm likely taking on e5 next. It opens up the f file, so I need to be a little bit aware of that. With my rook gone of f8. So yeah, I'm not 100% sure. I think I also maybe could just keep the tension here. For sure, yeah. Now my rook looks very silly on c8, but okay. Yeah, this f4 pawn now looks also kind of silly. They have this f6 square, of course, which is yeah, sort of weakened. Again, like this pawn is weak, but it's already like once defended, and I will. So I have like time to defend it more. I guess this idea, but it feels like it's not going anywhere. Like after b4, I can like gain a crucial tempo on either square on the queen. And I think my hooks will already like be gone off here. And then this will be just like, yeah, one. It will be maybe even I will be in time to get in b6. Maybe not, just not a3. Let's say we go here, b4. No, yeah, just not in time to go for like b6. It could be that I can do that, because maybe I could actually sacrifice that change. It's not in this situation, it's not crazy at all. For sure, if this rook is still stuck here, then sacrificing the exchange with the open king, open diagonal. In some lines could be feasible. But yeah, the knight, then being able to jump into these squares. But yeah, for the moment it looked like just not enough. Something, so let's try to something like this. B4 take, knight here. Although the knight here also, the queen and maybe just moves and gains a tempo on it. So the knight here is sort of loose. Yeah, this a3 b4 now makes some sense. Okay, let's calculate concretely here. So here, a3. No, they are on the move right. a3 here. b4. I think I take. I assume they take with a pawn. They can of course take with, but then positionally, that yeah, then they could just play b4 straight away. So that's positionally just very weakening. So a3, b4 take. Let's say I jump in here. If they, I think they need to stay. I guess they are now also at b3 as a square, which I was missing a bit earlier. But if they go here, then yeah, this check probably is can make use of that. The knight actually even could be trapped. That's kind of crazy. Nah. Is there a chance that I need to play like slow with rook b8? Oh, they go for f5. For sure, a logical move. For the, no doubt about that. So options: rook e8, rook f8. I think rook e8. Since if they take, play something like bishop d5, I have rook e7. I want to get rook. And the moment I play f6, now, okay, then I'm always, of course, needs to make sure that I get back with my queen to here. I think I can do that. They are quite fast here with this, of course. Yeah, no, but I can, no, that's an issue of e8 actually. e8, let's say f6. Although, no. Even if the rook is on e7, then it's, I just need to not go back to e8 because that blocks this path or this path. Yeah, not this path, but that path is blocked by the pawn. Okay. Also, I now have this square, which is something that sometimes can be used. But yeah, for now that is hanging. Yeah, I think I want my hook on the open file. Yeah, there could be here some attacking stuff. But also sometimes maybe I will just give the exchange. I think this is for sure like, I think I wouldn't be unhappy to give this rook for this bishop in this position. Like if they trade, now I sort of stabilize. Like this rook never can join the attacks. So I think they need to keep the tension. Oh yeah, they can play f6 here. That I for sure need to calculate concretely. So after, let's say f6, maybe I just play rook e6. And they play bishop d5. Even go like just here. Although then I need to be sure that I'm quick enough with this. Oh no. Yeah, maybe queen c1 then. Do not allow me, of course, to fork. I give them one check, but I block. Oh, No, that doesn't work. Since I have a fork here then. Yeah, I think I will need the time, so let's hope it's not losing, and then actually yeah. And now we'll also have rook e5 in possible lines. The queen here, like, of course it does some stuff, but for the moment it's not really fighting for key squares. This is only a key square after f6, but then it has no access to it anymore. Let me go for a quick bathroom break, I think, when I have still the time. Since, yeah, it looks like, yeah, we are close to the end, but this can still, like, take an easy an hour, so. Okay, they release the tension. So after this, here, daughter just here. Queen can, but that's not really even. I don't see it actually. What's the, like the follow-up? Feel like I sort of just consolidate. They have just more weaknesses, it feels. Yeah, after bishop d, that's a thing. After bishop d5, rook e7, like after something like queen f6, like this is hanging. But yeah, I also have done checks. Okay, that way. This is also still an idea, but... So my original plan was rook e7, but yeah, the question is, what do I do against this? I have 96, but then I can jump in here. Yeah, maybe this was not the right move. Ah. So this. Since here, of course, sketchy. But yeah, no, my hook is just hanging, so that is not an option. Yeah. Yeah, and the problem is always when I sacrifice the exchange, now the hook just gets out and then it's not enough. It's still, yeah, mostly because I get the d5 square, so this diagonal is not that weak. So this. What can I do? Like something like queen h7 here. King h7 there. And then they are also attacking here, so... I should have maybe gone just here. Straight away. No, this silly rook is still... Because I can't move my knight, because then this hangs. No, this is not a thing, right? Okay, well, let's consider this for a second. Since that keeps the after, but yeah, it's just too slow. This. Okay, try to focus on. Yeah, even this is not. I was thinking that's when the rook, but that just is checkmate. Ugh. Yeah, no. Yeah, that's not an option either. I think I maybe just sacrifice the exchange and play that possession. Yeah, this petty. And what if I guess rook f8? They then play this. Now here, bishop here. And that doesn't change anything. Yeah, no. Why wouldn't... I guess now there's some pins, but yeah, not really, because they're just taking here with checks. And I can't defend that pawn. So here. Can do something like this. Since if they take with either, I can take and then... No, not... I guess take with this one. And I can't even take in between. Take, check. And I'm still losing. So they can even just do that. I guess... No. I think I need to sacrifice the exchange. I don't see another move. This is just too strong. Yeah. Took a little bit too much liberties. Guess this. Maybe they're done now. Sacrifice the queen like that. I have done a strong knight on e6. That's maybe an option. And there's that not like really direct. But yeah, this, I feel these pawns then will create here a passer. And so that's the second option. This. And then going here. Then this. Take. No, let's just sacrifice that chains. Not fully convinced, but... I guess they can't block this diagonal at least that easy, because yeah, I can then win the exchange back. My knight on e6 is a nice square. Yeah, I think I should have gone faster for this one. Was just in the morning a bit, having been messed up. Okay, let's see who is here. Quite some familiar names in the lichess, following on lichess. No. Is my comes, are you Michael Comston? That makes some sense. Like, hey, played. Was that 1 season ago or 2 seasons? I think that's 2 seasons ago. Wow, you are high already. Already in 2300. No, you were writing fast, but didn't know that fast. And they don't snap take the exchange. I guess it makes sense since, like, they know, yeah, I will recapture with the knight, so by not think further already. I think they for sure will take here, but like now they leave me still like second guessing a bit. And yeah, there is something to be said that I anyway not can avoid it. But yeah, I think still I still get like at least get my rook here. And then I can capture with the rook, which I think is better than with the knight. Like the knight is decent on e6, but maybe even better on... Oh, why is my pre-move not here? I wanted to have an insta move. Like this, for now, this rook is still a little bit out of the game. Of course, I think it will get decently... But yeah, no, here I still have like this. Although I then, of course, need to be a little bit wary of stuff like this. I guess then I can just play rook f8. And I have queen e7. No, then I have here. No, I can take with the queen. No, I take with the... Okay, very sensible move. But let's try to activate my queen. See if I can do something with that. So this is a trap I'm looking for. It's not one, but yeah, I think it should be good for me. And that way now, I guess the only downside is I keep now my rook a little bit restricted, but maybe I was thinking about moving the queen somewhere active, but maybe I play a4 now. Not after taking now, of course this hangs. Which could be a little problem. Oh no, maybe after a4 taking, now I play knight c5, and now the rook is back stuck. Guess they have rook b6. Then, okay. So this a4 is tempting. Of course, their idea is h5. And then there is some h6, but then can still get mated like that. And now the rook is no longer pinned after I have this. Ah, that's also an idea of h4 actually, to give the rook a square, otherwise the rook was trapped. Didn't see that. Is there like some sort of crazy perpetual here? So this is forced. They go back. They need to go here. Rook looks very silly there, but don't see direct follow-up. Actually, after this I have this. That's a nice move. Just I need to make sure that there's nothing like queen f2, queen f6. Giving the rook, is that checkmate or... don't think that's checkmate. No, that's not checkmate. So that doesn't work. So this, yeah, then my e4 is a little bit more sensible. These kind of moves still an option. After which maybe rook f8. Position should be lost, but practically... oh wow, they go for this. I didn't expect. So what do they do against this? Guess they have rook c1. And after this, they break sort of through here. I even have... no. This. Say rook f8. They have then a pass pawn. Okay, yeah, I missed this rook c1. I have knight c5 still. What was my original idea? Then yeah, maybe some a5. And just saying that they have won a pawn. So here, rook c1. Take here. Like their position feels very loose at that point, but Yeah. Don't see like a way how to make use of that. Let me just centralize my queen somehow. Okay, let's make a move. Oh wow, I completely blundered here something. That was so bad. I thought this hook was hanging. Oh no, so bad. Oh, you can of course just do this. Ugh. Oh wow, that's so bad. Ugh. Yeah. Ugh. That's guess this they have here. No, then this is hanging. Okay. I have knight c5 here. At least. Oh man. That was horrible. I have this check also, but no, then I block. So again, the rook is sort of a little bit out of play. That they should have something here. Now my knight here. Now I think I never really threatening to take this rook. H5, very logical of course. Here, take this. Maybe h6 actually. This rook is hanging, sort of. No, after h6. No, yeah, I don't have 96 and then this hangs. Yeah, I assume h6 is possible. Since I don't think this is actually mate. Oh yeah, yeah, I can't get. It's not mate. That was never the question, but it's not even a perpetual. I think they have this square. Oh wow, go for that. That I didn't expect. Can't take, so then this is mate. I assume this is my only real candidate. Think this is a move. And I haven't seen what my move is then. Take, check. Yeah, they go for that. Nice. And this is obviously a very straightforward checkmate. This. Right, yeah, that's also checkmate. Yeah, I think they calculated this correctly. I'd seen this too, but yeah, there were no moves anymore. Guess this. Does that do something? Take. No, it doesn't do anything. Ugh. Try to find at least something tricky. Don't see it. I guess giving. That doesn't do anything, right? If I give the rook to just get a check. Poke. Yeah. I knew this is an instant losing move, but yeah, it felt stupid to lose on time. But yeah, this is also just losing on the spot. So I don't, yeah, I didn't find a, yeah, okay. This is just checkmate in two, so. I had seen this, but I was like, didn't find a move. Probably there was no one. GG. Let's. Yeah, but Rook G2 was the best move, but it doesn't do anything. I think I at least should have tried this. Oh wow, H5 was actually a blunder. Yeah, it's best because I can just sacrifice and be like more than a rook down. Yeah, that's not a move. So H5. Knight E4 actually was a invitation. And the same idea, but yeah, gaining a tempo first. That's nice. Yeah, and yeah. So now, and now I play exactly the same. And now, okay, yeah, yeah, I could have found this. Now, this, now I have queen d4. And in this case, yeah, okay, now I have f6. Still not an easy move to find. Hello, queen e6. Yeah, and that's in this kind of positions, like could trade that with traded queens. Okay. Yeah, that was like exactly like, and here is a traded queens not good. That's not. I guess yeah, I don't get to a2, which yeah, that's important to get rid of a2. Okay, let's open Twitch. Yeah, not my best game. Okay. Oh, two, two. So looks like it's a little bit quiet and chant. So this, yeah, played the opening decently. Although, yeah, knight c5. What's the follow? I guess I still playing better. Yeah, that's hard. Realizing that I want to keep the. Yeah, usually you want to trade one out of the. Yeah, I need to examine why the engine now wants to keep the pieces on. Yeah, it looks like they were just. Yeah, my rook c8 was a little bit like, yeah, not super, but yeah, they played. Looks like very nicely. Well, here, wow, what's queen d6 here? What's wrong with this? Ah, yeah, of course. Okay, that's bad. That's one. That's my relatively bad blunder for me. Also, yeah, here I was already very afraid. Yeah, f5 is all. Ah, knight c7. Okay, yes, of course, makes sense. But yeah, this. No, no, it's not f6 actually. But yeah, I maybe, yeah, didn't realize how. Okay, queen d8. Yeah, okay. This I that you now can take here. I had missed. Otherwise, this was completely lost. Okay, I didn't calculate deep enough here. So let's see here. Yeah, I was a bit too much maneuvering in this game. We were around here, right? F5. Okay, I need to open up chat actually. And my rook e6 was best move. It was still horrible, but I think I can't complain that much about. I just played an action game. The overall evaluation. But it's because, yeah, I had like a surprising defensive resource. So yeah, it looks like they played a clean game, except here he had a horrible visualization. Yeah, I was so my calculation was here. Let's say it's I'm gonna do something. Move this. Had I calculated this correctly or not? Yeah, here I could take it. So that was why, and here, yeah, since here also the rook is here. This I had, but yeah, that was a horrible blunder that I realized. Like, yeah, rook takes. Actually, all moves were good here. Still, bishop takes was the correct move for me, but here this was my plan. No, I was maybe going to play queen b6 first, which Jen doesn't like that much. Although it's not, yeah. And I was thinking maybe I can get like f. Yeah, I guess it's because h4 here again. Well, like I was even thinking about stuff like f5. But maybe I'm just a little bit too weakened. h6 here. And I need to now defend this too. Yeah, just a little bit too much weaknesses. Ugh. Now g4 and you break it open. Very sensible, of course. All even at some point I can do a second. If I now start defending this full, I can do a second version on the other side. Very instructive. And this, yeah, now. Yeah, even here I'm more switch. Yeah, I didn't. I guess they got all. They sort of won a lot of temples in this line. Where I lost temples compared to normal lines. They get like this structure fully. They are ready for e5 stuff. Yeah, good learning lesson. Yeah, I think I ended here. Yeah, I guess the only thing is that yeah, this 94 here. Oh, how fast did I? Yeah, I had no time, of course, here. I should have. I think the main mistake was taking time here for rook e6. Like I should never. This I should have realized faster that it's the only move and played it like after 3 minutes. And if I then, and I think I have a reasonable chance to like find here 94. The game maybe goes otherwise, and then no, it's yeah, here 94, right? And that's what would be anything can happen. I think I even could see like me winning that game sometimes. I think at that point white also needs to be precise. Like a position like this. Yeah, even the end game here. I guess white is never in a risk here. This is maybe pretty safe. Something like this. Although 95 here. Although here that I'm again lost. So yeah. Allowing this check. Yeah. It's tricky for both sides. Now I have even queen g5 ID sometimes. And this is yeah, I was probably never having winning chances, even in this line. Okay, yeah. So not sure about I haven't streamed that much lately. Some tilt issues and some technical issues. Probably and maybe again texture Thursday. And yeah, my over the board is done, so I have more time also in the weekend. Maybe some few spectating streams. Thanks for being here, and I see you next time.